Hello, we're back again with Tom Murphy. Tom is a colleague of mine and a member of Penn State Extension's Marcellus education team, and also a leading authority on Marcellus, the Marcellus industry and Marcellus shale development in Pennsylvania. Thanks for joining us today and giving us some of your time. The segment of this video, rights of way, and how it impacts landowners and how it will, as we're seeing pipelines develop across the state. So Tom, I guess first of all, are we seeing pipeline activity in Pennsylvania with construction and companies developing easements for rights of way?
We are, Dave. We're seeing quite a bit of pipeline going in a variety of areas in Pennsylvania. And typically it's in the areas where most of the well development is going on. So again, you look at that southwestern corner of Pennsylvania as well as the north central, northeastern corners of Pennsylvania.
Okay. One of the questions we get commonly about pipelines is eminent domain. We're gonna capture Tom's thoughts about eminent domain, so stay tuned for that. But what I wanted to ask Tom today was talk about some of the considerations that a landowner should think about when being approached to sign a right-of-way. So Tom, if I could, if you could give me just a couple of thoughts about, when a landowner is approached about signing a right-of-way, what should they think? What should they look for in a lease? What should they be doing as they are getting offers from different pipeline operators?
Dave, we see quite a few right-of-way agreements that are surfacing in a variety of places in Pennsylvania by individual companies, and likely we'll see more of those over the course of time, again, as different companies operate here and different pipeline companies come in and do that kind of work. First and foremost is the fact you want to make sure that before you sign any type of an agreement like that, whether it's in this case a pipeline agreement, but any type, a lease for a well, or any of those different types of road use agreements, and a variety of others that will surface over the course of time, you want to make sure you take it to an attorney, have the attorney review it for some of the details that are in there. Make sure you get that right before you would sign something. The other thing you want to keep in mind as you're working down through this process is you want to be thinking about the different comparisons between pricing that will come forward. So one company might be offering you pricing in one way, and the next company might be offering pricing in a different way. So you want to make sure you're comparing apples to apples as those companies are approaching you along those lines. You also want to be thinking about different types of impacts that will occur out there from an agricultural standpoint. So if you're farming some ground and the company is going to come in, you want to be insisting in that agreement that there's a double ditch method that's being used, and topsoil is preserved and is put back in the correct order. We also want to be thinking about who's going to maintain those right-of-ways over the course of time. Mm-hmm. Thinking about invasive weeds and some of the other issues that have been brought up, and people are thinking deeper and harder about to make sure that, again, that those are prevented and not causing a problem here in Pennsylvania. We also want to be thinking about the future use of that property. So a right-of-way that goes diagonally out across a farm or diagonally across a large property versus using a common right-of-way or common boundary line or something like that that's already there. You definitely want to err towards the latter and use something that's already in existence, because the future use of that property could be hindered with a easement that's through that property. You wouldn't be able to do certain things in the future. So you want to be thinking that out. Again, the terminal use of that property, and it could be several generations past you. So again, think to the future there. You also want to be thinking about timber. If there's timber on that property, who's going to put the value on that timber? Is that you? Is that the company that's approached you? Or are you going to be hiring a disinterested third party that's going to come in and actually assign a value there? So I think those would be some of the stronger considerations that you want to be thinking about when you're working your way down through one of these right-of-way agreements.
Tom, thanks. Those are some good points, and I think a lot of those points can be addressed in a pipeline agreement as an addendum or as language inserted in the contract sort of after the original contract is presented to you. Again, with the help of a qualified attorney, you can develop a pretty sound right-of-way agreement that would benefit both parties in the agreement.